Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? Welcome back to Force Strategy Gaming, casting a game for you today between BeastyQT and Happy. This is a Terran versus Terran. We are, of course, here on Metalopolis. There's a little nameplate there. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And actually, just recently, earlier today, casted a game here in Metalopolis. It was a Terran versus Zerg. You can actually find that on Machinima Realm. Hopefully, it's actually up by the time that this video gets posted. If not, then it'll probably be up on Wednesday. But either way, we can see right now both players obviously not going to be doing a whole heck of a lot of anything because there's not much to be done. Now, Metalopolis, we're probably all fairly familiar with this map. It's been around for quite some time. I actually really enjoy it, and I would have to say that this is probably one of my most enjoyable maps to cast, and I especially like games where players are on these kind of opposite sides of the map, allowing them to basically take their half. That tends to lead to possibilities of long macro games. It is definitely going to be the case in cross positions. Something to be concerned in these given positions between the two players is that air harassment is going to be very effective. You can see, of course, the air distance between these two bases very, very short. So Banshee harassment, drops with like Hellions and Marine drops and all sorts of things can be quite devastating and very difficult to deal with as well. Also, a couple other things. Yesterday I did cast and commentate all day. It was the grand finals for the New England StarCraft 2 League. So if my voice is a little hoarse and happens to crap out halfway through this, well, then I apologize. Also, I'm going to be trying to come out with a few videos for you today. Gonna be at least a couple StarCraft videos. I think I've got one Diablo thing in the works as well. Some really exciting big plans there. We can see right now Happy actually going out with this scout much earlier than BeastyQT. You can see BeastyQT has yet to leave his base with any SCV scout. Now this is important to note because this SCV that is scouting as opposed to the mining SCV that BeastyQT has over here is going to put him slightly behind. So you can see right now finally moving out after the creation of that barracks is completed. Taking a look back inside of the base of Happy, looks like both players again pretty standard fare. Both players doing more or less the same thing. Happy going off with that supply depot in the back of this little smog smoke screen here. That's going to, of course, allow him to see any possible drops. Looks like BeastyQT is not going to be placing his next depot there, however, maybe at a later date. Obviously, not too worried about any drops this early in the game. Neither player has done any deviation from the other. They're both pretty much on the same page at this point, so I'm going to be interested to see when that finally does take place. We can see right now the Marine of Happy actually managed to shoo away BeastyQT's SCV, and uh-oh, Happy needs to be careful, gonna lose it, so there we go. BeastyQT already up just a little bit and killing that one worker. Needs to be careful with this SCV, though. If he can make this away, he's actually going to be in a little bit of a pretty solid position. There we go. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So BeastyQT is 1-1 right now. Definitely in a solid position. Look at this. BeastyQT is going to be coming out with the Expo. So finally, here we are seeing that deviation. He does, of course, have this refinery up and has that saturated as well, but he will be using the Vespian gas that he has acquired thus far to actually get that reactor and then get that delayed factory. So we can see the factory for BeastyQT just now starting, and the factory for Happy is near complete right now. There's that SCV making his way right on back home. So there we go. Again, BeastyQT going to be coming out with that quick expansion. So, of course, going to do two things. It's going to make it so that if he does get it up and running, he will be in a solid position. But up until the point that it is up and saturated and he can start taking advantage of those resources, then he's in a little bit of a dangerous spot. You can see actually both players hugging the edge right here, doing two things, trying to catch any possible units in transit, also probably trying to handle any possible Reaper scouts. Having those Marines on the edge is going to pretty much take care of that. We can see Happy instead now moving his Marines to the front of his base, and this is going to allow him, of course, to stop any possible scouts from moving in his base. He does have the Zelnaga right now, so he is going to know if any units are pushing in this direction. Taking a look back in BeastyQT's base, we can see that Tech Lab coming down, finally working his way up to that starport. But again, taking a look over here, Happy's obviously much earlier on the completion of that starport, solely due to the fact because there was a little switch between the two. We can see this command center now just starting for Happy as opposed to BeastyQT command center, who had started quite a while ago and giving him that delay in the starport. Now the concern is that if he comes out with a medevac, but he is not, I was a little bit concerned because if he did come out with a medevac, he actually could have been able to try to get some sort of effective drop-off, possibly with even some Hellions, although as we can see here, he is going for that siege tech and probably going to be getting, obviously going to be getting siege tanks after that point as well. So unfortunately getting the Viking, but that's again to no avail because there are no Banshees on the board, so it's not going to do a whole lot for him. He can use it for scouting though, try to skirt along the edges away from any ground units that can shoot up in the air and try to check the bases, check those expansions, all things like that. And it looks like that's what he will be doing. He's in fact going to be scouting out with this Viking. He wants to check exactly what's going on, and he catches the orbital command in the air, so going to get a few free shots here. Soften that up just a little bit. Needs to be careful for those Marines, though. There we go. So pushing back once he saw the Marines. Definitely did not want to take that loss. That'd be quite devastating. Happy actually skirting along the edge over here and bringing some Marines into his resource line. I'm interested as to why, though, because he obviously was just in the base of BeastyQT, and he saw that there was a starport, but there was no tech lab on it. So without a tech lab, he knows the Banshees are not coming. So interested to see why he's actually holding up position. There we go. So finally moving to another spot. He might be a little bit concerned and worried about drops, though. That obviously is a concern, but needs to be careful here. Whoever gets a first shot off is going to be in a good position. Happy going to be forcing the retreat here of BeastyQT's Viking. So again, softening that up, either forcing repairs or making it a little less durable during any engagement that may take place. BeastyQT moving out with some of his siege tanks now. Is he actually pushing out right now? It looks like he may be. And here we go, Vikings moving forward as well. Needs to be careful. These Marines are actually going to get trapped here by these tanks. And so BeastyQT going to get some free kills here. He did lose the 2 Marines he had up top, but those tanks are obviously quite a match for those Marines. Was able to drop those pretty handily. Let's take a look at the production and see precisely what they intend on doing. We can see some more Vikings making their way on out. Now, obviously, the tank Viking game is crucial in the TVT matchup, allowing yourself to have that air dominance through Vikings, or you see people use Thors as well. That's another option, or even getting some Ravens with point defense drones if your Viking numbers are low to combat other Vikings. But anyways, gaining air control is the name of the game here. That's the only way you can really push on other sieged up siege tanks. We can see BeastyQT trying to maintain control here of the middle. Going to make it a little bit more difficult for Happy to actually make a push on there. Something else to note too is that these tanks do have that extra vision just through that Zelnaga tower, so they in fact do not need any Vikings to spot here. They have taken full effect of their range there without needing any air dominance at that point. Happy sieged up here with a few tanks, taking a look inside of the... Oh, needs to be careful. There's 2 Vikings flying on over. Yeah, just doing a little dance around. Definitely probably not going to land. They'd be taking some fire. If he can get right up on them, though, I think if he squeezes his Vikings right in there, if he can actually fit them there, he would be able to not take any fire, of course, because those tanks can't shoot anything, basically, that is point blank. And, yeah, it looks like he's repositioning himself a little bit. Now, let's take a look over here. We can see, of course, BeastyQT is fairly well saturated. Coming down with another barracks, so switching to a little bit of barracks heavy. In fact, getting a tech lab on this one as well. Probably going to start getting some upgrades. Another factory making its way on out. We can see a Marine scout moving on out right now for BeastyQT. He, of course, is checking this third. He wants to know if another expo is coming up. We can see Happy is planning on doing just that. If this Marine actually moves on in, he might be able to snipe down that SCV and at the very least delay the building there. Looks like we did lose a Marine, I think that may have been. Who knows, though. Landing down these Vikings, though, to try to combat with these Marines. And there you go. Going to have no problem taking care of those. Marines are forced to push back, but with a few more Marines, he's going to actually try to move in. He needs to be a little careful, though. He could get these target fire down. These Vikings, of course, definitely a much bigger loss, but he does have the support of these 2 additional Marines, though. So it looks like he's feeling pretty comfortable. Again, BeastyQT continuing up the siege line, taking advantage once more of that vision of the Zelnaga tower. Lots more Marines here, and it looks like he's going to be feeling bold to push in. Happy. Is he going to win this? It's going to be pretty close, though. You can see target firing down those Vikings, and like I mentioned, these Vikings are a much bigger loss than losing Marines. Of course, Vespian is invested in these, and he tries to lift off the last one, but does get dropped. And taking a look over here, we do see that sensor tower of BeastyQT. This, of course, is a really nice placement. He is definitely going to see any drop if it does try to make its way through. We can see a couple turrets spotting the edge, more than a couple, lots of turrets spotting the edge over here. So BeastyQT definitely really concerned about the drops. Now, obviously, that leaves him a little protected, but at the same time, those are a lot of resources invested. And that's probably part of the reason why this expo is a lot later than Happy's expansion. We can see Happy trying to land it, but the Marine delaying that at the very least. Obviously, that's going to get killed, but still, a little bit of delay helps him nonetheless. So BeastyQT here, definitely really prepared, but like I mentioned, a lot of resources invested here, and it looks like actually Happy's going to be responding with the same thing. We can see turrets spotting the edge of his base as well, so concerned about the possibility of moving in Banshees, but most likely he's really just concerned about drops. So we're seeing both players do pretty much the same thing in terms of unit composition. Marine tank throwing in some Vikings there as well, and this is basically, like, this is pretty standard TVT, more or less. I haven't seen a lot of harass from either player, just trying to take advantage of what action is going on. Marine's going to be moving up and dropping BeastyQT's softened up Marine, but here is that huge task force, and this poor guy is a goner. And here we go, Vikings move forward. Looks like we're going to see that Viking drop, I think. Needs to be careful, though. Other tanks over here taking some fire from the one on the low ground. Luckily, he managed to lift that up. Now, again, if you get 2 tanks, and with any other unsieged ones, you are actually, if you get 2 tanks really close, basically, and you can land right on them, there will be no fire, but it's because of this tank that's slightly out of the range there. He was able to actually shoot on the Viking as it landed. And look at this. Oh boy, very, very close, skirting that edge right there. You can see that range of that one tank, and he himself, Happy, is going to be trying to deny any further push here. But again, with this Xel'Naga tower, he actually isn't going to be able to make a push on the ground because he does have maximum vision right now. BeastyQT fully taking advantage of that. Let's see if we have any sort of deviations. Doesn't look like it. Taking a look at the production tab, we can see both players basically just getting their upgrades, continuing to macro up. We can see right now both, of course, are on that third base. This is exactly what I mentioned at the start of the game, how this is kind of how this map can play out if both players are having a half of their own and not kind of in close positions. And look at this, actually. BeastyQT is going to be trying to come out with that fourth now much earlier than Happy is. Happy also spotting some turrets here. Again, worried about the possibility of Cloak Banshees. And it looks like Happy's going to finally start to make his push. He wants to move in on this side. Needs to be careful, though. Tanks are sieged up. Wants to get that siege down and then try to get that vision with those Vikings. There you go. That's going to allow his tanks to shell out. One tank dropped. This other one, no, that one is slightly out of range. But look at this. Happy just completely circumventing the siege line. He's going to be pushing over here again. He wants to have forward momentum with these Vikings so that he can catch any possible tanks. We have these tanks over here. Tanks sieging up. Very close. Tanks just barely escaping there. But Marines moving on into the unsieged tanks. There were quite too many, though. These Marines do need to, of course, be careful. They don't want to push on in. And look at this tank back and forth battle. And this is actually really dangerous. Happy, again, catching BeastyQT out of position. He's going to manage to drop this third if he can get up on there and get to work quickly enough. So BeastyQT quickly trying to reposition himself once again in good position. Scan going down. SCV is going to be forced to move down. I don't think we're even going to see these tanks siege up. They're going to just be moving in using the normal DPS, and so much damage going down. Happy just absolutely devastating this Marine line. Killed pretty much all of those SCVs as well, and look at these tanks getting dropped so quickly. We do have vision from this medevac, and that is helping quite a bit. This tank is a goner. And there you go. Look at that. Very, very nice push there from Happy. He definitely did a lot of damage. One of the biggest things is he killed a ton of SCVs, aside from the fact that he killed a majority of the army of BeastyQT as well. Now, at this moment, these tanks are pretty much sitting ducks, so he's just going to do as much damage as possible, but taking advantage of this opportunity to move his tank line and basically do what BeastyQT was doing to him for that first quarter of the game. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. A very impressive play by Happy, pushing in on the unsieged side, forcing BeastyQT to reposition his units just to deal with that, because he came dangerously close to losing this expansion. That, of course, is the last thing that he would have wanted. Medevac gonna actually get shot down as it tries to make his way. Now, we are seeing another attempted push, but Happy needs to be careful because we do have the siege line right now just barely skirting the edge of that tank. He did take that one shot, but look at this. He's gonna deny this expo, and this is actually exactly what Happy wants to do. As we reach the later stages of the game, this type of harassment and stopping expansions and denying economy is really important. And Marines going to be walking into the siege fire, but it was worth it because they dropped that command center. Really nice play there by Happy. BeastyQT definitely playing on the back foot at this point in the game. He's just resaturating this third, and we can see, of course, Happy does have his third nice and saturated and moving into his fourth right now. And as we saw, Happy was able to push on that. And again, not only that push that denied the expos, but one of the biggest things too is he was able to retake this control here of the center, grabbing that Xel'Naga tower, having these siege tanks up. That is pretty huge, I would have to say. Happy hiding his forces here in the corner. That's a pretty heavy siege line. He is going to be hard pressed to actually move in on that. How close is he to the edge there? You can see very, very close. If he actually lifts these guys up, he can probably get them up in the high ground, do a little bit of damage there. Needs to be careful though. You can see right there skirting the edge of that tank fire, and he does not want to walk into that at all. He's trapped in the corner right now, getting vision of the high ground though by dropping these Marines. He's going to start shelling out some damage here, and very, very dangerous situation right now. BeastyQT again forced to pull guys off of the line. That is a problem and a half, I would have to say. Any time that stopped mining is definitely too long, a lot longer than he wants, basically. So he just has to be incredibly careful. We can see these siege tanks going to be pushing on up, but walking straight into the siege line. Needs to be very, very careful. He's going to be dropping some Marines here right on top of the tanks. They can, of course, not fire when they're in close proximity, and breaking this tank line here. There still are a couple tanks in the high ground, but we do have all these tanks down here for Happy. Unsieging for a moment makes him a little bit vulnerable. We can see right now BeastyQT, lots of Vikings, maintain a lot of air dominance, and Happy still does have these tanks down here. Unfortunately, can't shoot up there without that vision of the high ground. And look at this battle cruiser coming into play from BeastyQT. going to be dropping down these tanks very quickly. This is probably going to force Happy to push back with these tanks, and now that he knows that battlecruisers are on the board, he's needing to get a ton of Vikings. You can see that Viking spam right there, because that is the only way he's going to actually be able to contend with this. It's going to be very hard pressed with just Marines to actually deal with that battlecruiser. Battlecruisers are just so hardy. We can also see BeastyQT with a lot of Vikings. He does have a lot of air dominance, but one of the biggest things though is Happy does have this really strong economy, and BeastyQT is going to be having a hard time. He needs to catch back up. He needs to get these expos up and running and saturated, because he is dwindling on his minerals. You can see both his main and natural getting pretty close. It's going to be a little bit longer, but still getting close to mined out. And here we go, trying to move up, going to be taking down these turrets right now, taking fire from those tanks. Unfortunately though, this is a big tank line. He needs to try to get vision of the high ground, because he's taking unnecessary losses at this point. Scan actually going down to maintain that vision, and we can see right now Happy's going to be forced to push back, and these battlecruisers very daunting indeed. We again need to see some Vikings here from Happy in order to combat this. It's going to be his only real defense against that. Obviously Marines are anti-air, but they do get shredded pretty hard by battle cruisers, especially with some tanks supporting them as well. But again, Happy still overall in the better position. Let's take a look at that income tab. We can see Happy pulling ahead right here. He's definitely in the lead at this point when it comes to economy. Finally working up right now into his 5th base. Happy may even consider taking this high yield right here. You can see floating some resources. I do want to see, oh, we got a little bit of lag there. Lag there between the two players. Yeah, I do want to see some more production buildings though from Happy. It seems like Happy is running a little bit low in terms of production as he starts to pull up some resources, dumping it finally. Both players again continuing up their work towards getting some, getting caught up position. Needs to be really careful. Tanks going down, taking a lot of fire from the sieged up tanks here of BeastyQT, and here come these battle cruisers into play. Gonna demolish those tanks if they don't push back, and there we go, finally moving back with those. We did just see actually both players were building a Ghost Academy, so we can see Happy over here. I don't know where it is, but we got a Ghost Academy somewhere. I don't know. I saw a Ghost. At least I think I saw a Ghost Academy. Maybe I'm full of crap. Maybe it was just an armory. That's probably what it was. Okay, I think I just saw an armory, and I was just, I don't know, blind for a moment, or thinking I saw something I didn't. Yeah, it must have been just armories. They are obviously in need of those to continue to get up those upgrades, so sorry for that false report there. I believe there are no Ghost Academies in play, and it makes sense because they really wouldn't do too good unless we saw some nuke action going down, but doesn't look like that is the case. We can see continuous upgrades here. Looks like BeastyQT is going to continue up the battlecruiser route, and we can see finally Happy starting to try to get that air dominance with these Vikings, and again, that is exactly what he needs to properly deal with those battle cruisers. Taking a look at the unit station, we can see 6 battlecruisers in play. We do have 10 to 12 siege tanks here. The advantage going to Happy at the moment, actually dropping down to 2. I'm not sure where he took those losses. Looks like those were over here. And then also taking a look at the Viking count, Happy in the dominant position. There were 16 Vikings as opposed to just the 8. Obviously, this is largely contributed to the battlecruisers in play. Lots of resources required to invest into that. And look at this, Happy's line is going to get broken right here. These battlecruisers are going to have no problem tearing right through. But look at this, Vikings coming into play for Happy. Going to start target firing those battlecruisers, and my gosh, what in the heck? That was a giant explosion from the Yamato cannon, but unbelievable. Man, these graphic settings are nuts. I don't even realize. I thought that was a small nuke for a minute, but look at those Vikings dropping down those battlecruisers. Battlecruisers definitely having a hard time against that, but that Yamato cannon just blew up right in my face, and I actually had no idea what was going on. BeastyQT finally going to be trying to move to his expo as well. He's sitting on the 5th, but again, like I mentioned, Happy, here we go, moving into that high yield expansion. If he can control this, he's definitely going to be in a good position. Haven't seen a lot of drops from either player. Would really like to see that. Just something as simple and easy as a medevac filled with Marines dropping on an expansion can just lay waste to a mineral line. It's absolutely unbelievable how quickly stim-packed and upgraded Marines can lay waste to things. We can see the infantry here for Happy at 2 of 2. Let's take a look at the upgrades over here for BeastyQT. He's only 1-0 on his infantry. Taking a look, he is 3-3 for the air though, and no upgrades for his tanks. And taking a look at Happy, how is he doing for upgrades on his mech? He is 1-0 there. And the air upgrades, taking a look, I can't even do what I'm trying to do. So he is lacking on the air upgrades, but his bio and his mech is definitely at a much better position than that of BeastyQT. He needs to be careful, pulling back though, almost walking right in that siege line. Marines trying to push forward. Siege tanks going up right now for Happy. Little western draw here between these two players. Neither one really wants to push forward. Again, looks like Happy does have that Viking control 21 as opposed to just the 7 of BeastyQT. So Happy is going to be able to handedly deal with the battlecruisers that are in play. And BeastyQT just continuing up this route, not deviating at all. I cannot handle the amount of sensor towers that are in play right now. Just big giant circles all over the minimap. Definitely not the best of things for me to be staring at right now. But anyways, yeah, taking a look, both players again just continuing up their upgrades. And it looks like BeastyQT has committed here to this battlecruiser route. And I'm a little bit concerned just because of the numbers of Vikings here we have from Happy. It's just a little bit of cause for concern, but obviously these battlecruisers are going to tear up any ground here. And Vikings trying to push forward and snipe down a few of these battlecruisers. Need to be very, very careful though. And here we go. This one is going to get dropped so quickly. Just look at that. Vikings absolutely laying waste, but the needs to pull back from those Marines. BeastyQT, he's obviously able to handle those very handedly with those Marines. Again, still no drops going on. Taking a look, just constant production. Both players are near cap, if not at it already. And a little siege line going out from BeastyQT scan, allowing that extra vision for those tanks. Get that a little bit of extra shots off here. Slowly going to be pushing forward this tank line as well. Again, I would really like to see some drops. It is possible that I may have just missed one, but I don't believe there has been any quite as of yet. Continuous scans from both players trying to make sure that neither one of the other is encroaching at all. We also actually see some turrets going down. BeastyQT trying to make this position a little bit harder, but look at these Vikings landed, taking down these tanks there. Absolutely beautiful, taking advantage of that secondary function here of the Vikings. Need to be careful of Marines moving down from BeastyQT. Almost managed to drop those, and we did have the Air Force, the vast Air Force of BeastyQT pushing down to try to engage with those Vikings. However, the Vikings were able to get out of there just in the nick of time. We can see pretty low on health. Would like to see him get some repairs on that. Taking a look back for BeastyQT, again, that air dominance, very, very prevalent here with just the amount of battlecruisers he has. But again, those Vikings are cause for concern. Some more tank fire going down. Needs to be careful about walking that missile turret as well. Very, very dangerous. And look at this right now. We do have Happy skirting the edge of BeastyQT. He's going to probably be trying to pick up and drop. Yes, he is. So bringing some Marines into that expo up there. And again, this is kind of exactly what you want to do. You want to try to stop these expos. He's going to be have a really hard time walking on the planetary fortress. Again, needs to be careful over here. And here we go. The air fleet of BeastyQT getting ready to mount up an attack. He definitely needs to do something about this. He doesn't want this slowly encroaching push from Happy to tear through the economy of this expo over here. And he has not had this high yield up, and that is another problem, of course, for BeastyQT, because we can see that Happy has been up here for quite some time. But actually, BeastyQT going to circumvent these forces. It looks like he's going to try to push through that side. Here we go. Engagement's about to happen. BeastyQT feeling aggressive right now. He's got a sizable amount of Vikings, and he's about to push forward. All these battlecruisers here as well. And here we go. Big engagement going down. But look at these Marines just absolutely tearing through. And these battlecruiser numbers dropping pretty quickly, but not quickly enough. It looks like Happy going to be forced to retreat right now. These battlecruisers just tearing through what Happy had. Unreal battlecruisers, the hero of the day right now. Look at this. This expansion is going to get dropped. I'm not sure right now that Happy has anything to deal with this, and he is going to be losing this expo, and BeastyQT is in a really solid position right now. A little Yamada cannon, not even a little, that is a huge thing, but Yamada cannon going down on the few Vikings that were there. A Viking trying to snipe down some buildings, wanting to target fire that very low one. 16 HP is not enough to deal with the quick snipe of those Vikings, trying to take advantage of their extra range over those battlecruisers to get a few shots off. But it actually looks like BeastyQT is retreating home. He knows that there are probably going to be a lot of Viking reinforcements, so wants to be a little bit careful about that. Let's take a look at the production facilities. We do have these 3 racks over here. We do have some more starports over here, and a few racks over here. So it looks like BeastyQT is definitely in a solid position as far as production. But Happy, man, coming down with a lot of command centers. I think he's going to be changing those mostly into orbitals, lifting off this one, actually going to be moving that back into the high yield. So wants to take advantage of that. Finally, BeastyQT moving to the high yield. The fact that it's taking him this long to get here, though, is kind of just a cause of concern for me. I'm a little bothered by the fact that it's taken him so long to actually move up into this position. It's something that he definitely needed to get taken care of a little while ago, especially considering the amount of time that Happy has had at his own high yield. He's finally getting that reback up right now. Lots of Vikings moving forward right now. I'm going to start sniping down these battlecruisers. Battlecruisers need to be careful. We have some Marines on the low ground here as well, and with not a lot of tanks from BeastyQT, he's actually going to be susceptible to this Marine fire as well. Tanks sieging up, going to start to take care of the Marines here of Happy. Happy, of course, needs to be careful about when and how he engages. But the Vikings, oh man, going to be sniping down this orbital command. Marines need to push forward to try to deal with that, but they can't because of the siege line on the low ground, and BeastyQT losing that. He's going to be losing this battlecruiser here as well. BeastyQT not having this expo up is a problem. He does still have a decent amount of resources at both these bases, but right now he's only on 2 mining bases. We can see right now Happy sitting on 1, 2, 3, slightly 3, and 4. I'm going to say 3.5 actually, since this really isn't a whole lot going on. But 3.5 mining bases as opposed to just the 2 here for BeastyQT, or maybe 2.1. I don't know, I'm just going to stop making up decimal numbers here. But anyways, the point is that Happy is in that stronger position, taking a look at that income tab. And as the game progresses, the longer it gets, the further this advantage has. It compounds upon itself as the game progresses into the later stages. So it's a little bit of a cause for concern for BeastyQT. He definitely needs to get this base up and secured. And he just had a really hard time with that tank push there. And those Vikings, man, I tell you, lifting up that Royal Commander was probably the worst thing they could have done, because those Vikings snapped that down so quickly and got a couple Ravens coming into play, and just constant upgrades from both players. We can see right now Happy is at 3 of 2 for his air fleet. Taking a look at the ground fleet, he is 3-3 and 2-0 for his mech play, and we can see over here we do have 3-3 for the air fleet, the 0-1 for the mech units, and bio is at 1-3. So overall, it actually looks like BeastyQT is behind, except he does have that little bit of air dominance, but I'm not sure how much longer that's going to last, because we just do need that one more air upgrade, and that is making its way on in. And yeah, Happy overall sitting at the stronger upgrades, and that could be a problem for BeastyQT. BeastyQT needs to continue to work up these upgrades, and he's just not doing it. He's not working on his bio upgrades. He's not working on his mech upgrades either, and that's a problem. I'm a little bit concerned for him, because that's definitely going to play the role in this battle of attrition as the game moves later and later. And I wish I'm playing Goody now, says BeastyQT. Apparently, he camps 10 times less. Wow, so BeastyQT not happy with all the camping that Happy's doing, but you know what? Anything it takes to win, I tell you. People who complain about tactics in the game, it is a game. Let's keep that in mind, but still, you do what you gotta. The name of the game is winning. Aside from having fun, the name of the game is winning, and Happy is obviously... besides just the fact that he's camping up, he's doing what is necessary to actually achieve that goal of victory. That is what we need to do. And BeastyQT having a very hard time pushing into. BeastyQT raging really hard right now, saying it's sad. I'm guessing he is just upset that he actually can't get this expansion up, because he's not going to be able to actually push on this line. And actually Happy sacrificing a ton of SCVs, trying to free up some more supply so he can get some more units here. BeastyQT again slowly running out of resources, and we're seeing continuous SCVs streaming into the defenses here. BeastyQT sacrificing their life to free up that supply for Happy so they can get out some more units. We can see right now, again, he's got this one full mining base. He does have this high yield up and running, and BeastyQT still can't move into this. I don't know why he's not trying. At the very least, give it a shot. I mean, I know he's going to have a very hard time. We do have the Zelnaga towers grabbed for Happy, so he's going to know as soon as it happens. And here we go, Vikings pushing forward. He's been trying to snipe down, again, taking advantage of the range over those battlecruisers. Try to snipe down a few, and battlecruiser dropped so very quickly. And I think all that battlecruiser managed to take out was just one Viking, so that's obviously not a fair trade-off for BeastyQT. Here we go, Ghost coming into play here from Happy, so Happy going to be rolling with some of those Ghosts. Guessing obviously that EMP is going to be used on these battlecruisers, try to cut back on their ability to use that Yamada cannon. We can see some Marines moving down, and actually going to be grabbing this one tank out of position. There you go, grabbing down that turret as well. Any small victory that he can get is obviously something that's worthwhile, and Happy just having that tremendous econ advantage. And look at that, that's just a really bad position for BeastyQT. BeastyQT, again, what he needs to have tried to do is do some dropping. It's going to obviously be hard with the amount of turrets that are set up here, but you got to do what you can to try to disrupt the economy, because if he just lets Happy sit this for any while longer, there's nothing he's going to be able to do about it. He's just going to be way too far behind. Again, you need to do some damage. You need to try to disrupt the economy. Obviously, it's a little bit more difficult with these planetary forces, but dropping Marines in the back here, dropping over here as well, you could snipe down some guys and you'd be all set. And we actually do have some nukes coming down, so there we go. Going to be seeing some nuke action from Happy, and I'm actually, I myself am pretty happy about that. So here we go, Cloaked Ghost moving on in. Let's take a look at what he actually ends up doing. Going to be moving into position. He needs to try to find the ideal location to actually go for the snipe, and there is the nuke going to be planted right there. And let's take a look if BeastyQT is able to spot it in time. Scan going down, but needs to be careful. He may lose these tanks. Is he going to get them out of time? Unsieging, moving away, and yes, I think he did. He did get them away in time, but he did lose those two turrets at the same time, and another nuke going down in the exact same location, trying to hide the dot in the red that was left over from that last nuke. And these tanks, be careful. No, oh no, BeastyQT dangerously close right there. Almost ended up just walking right into that one. We are seeing a couple auto turrets going dropping down. Going to be actually doing a lot of damage, and actually managed to take out these siege tanks. One tank down. Does the second one Yes, it does. So dropping tanks with just auto turrets, that is a nice trade-off for Happy. That's definitely a really good position, sacrificing some of his Marines, freeing up some supply. BeastyQT coming out with some Thors now, trying to combat that heavy Viking force from Happy. We can also see continuation of those battlecruiser production. This game is just pretty intense here. We do have one Marine making its way on through. Let's see what he's going to do. I don't know. Just doing some scouting, I suppose. Not a whole lot that he can hope to accomplish here. Moving on in, dying to those battlecruisers, and we are seeing a continuous nuke production here from Happy. So Happy definitely wants to continue up, trying to drop some nukes in some key locations. Here we go, another ghost moving on forward. We do in fact have 2 ghosts moving out, but I mean, I don't really understand BeastyQT. I don't know what he's actually doing at this point. He is just too far behind. Again, you can see an income. There's a vast advantage right now for Happy. He's got so much more resources can be reinforced. Oh, look at those EMPs going down, draining so much of the health there, and actually his ghost almost dying to that tank fire when that scan did go down, but it didn't quite work out. But either way, dropping those EMPs, cutting back on some of the possible Yamato cannons here from these battlecruisers. But BeastyQT is just in a really tough position, not having this expansion. Very tough situation for him to deal with. And here we go. BeastyQT is going to be pushing forward right now. Another EMP going now, taking a lot of energy out of those battlecruisers. And look at all of these Ravens. And my gosh, Seeker missiles just blowing things up. Lots of point defense drones going down as well. That was absolutely unbelievable. I didn't even see the fact that he had switched to so heavy Ravens. I was just too caught up in the length and the ridiculousness of this game. But that heavy Raven switch with those point defense drones, as well as that Seeker missile, just blew through the air fleet. And man, oh man, BeastyQT is not happy, and there is, I guess that's the GG. I mean, there is something. There's the quit, if nothing else. So anyways, I enjoyed this game. Pretty long, I would have to say, and definitely had a little trouble keeping up at the end, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it nonetheless. Anyways, pretty epic TVT here between Happy and BeastyQT. So as always, guys, if you enjoy the content, be sure to subscribe to my channel, and keep watching, and keep owning.